Hey, welcome to Clarksville Vibe the show where we tell the stories of the people who make Clarksville the best place to live in America. Hey, it's your host, Kevin Kennedy. Thanks so much for joining us. Got a really exciting episode with us today. Our guest is a Clarksville native. Of course, in this first season, we're telling the stories of people who were born and raised in Clarksville, been around forever, love the community deep in their soul, and are doing great things. We've got Bryce Robinson, who is a junior at Austin Peay, currently playing on the football team, grew up here playing in the developmental ranks of junior pro football, and of course played high school football here, just doing exciting things at Austin Peay. He's a guy that all of us older guys are so proud of. He's a me second kind of guy, always looking for opportunities to serve. He's a leader on our football team that we so proudly cheer on in the fall. We're glad to have him here. Bryce Robinson Jr. at Austin Peay. Hey, thanks so much for jumping on with us.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
This is going to be fun. I think that people are going to find a lot of value in your story about you personally, about you kind of athletically, and of course, whenever we can talk Austin Peay and pump it up and promote it, let's do it, right?
Yes, sir. No doubt.
Cool. Well, let's talk about Austin Peay. So actually today, I don't know when we're actually going to push this out, but today you had your spring game,
yes,
right?
Sir.
And this is actually Coach Walden's first kind of spring practice. You know, things have been crazy as he's become head coach, and he had a COVID season, then a regular season, kind of first spring practice, but it culminated a couple weeks into a spring game today, held it at Fort Campbell, and you kind of did a full scrimmage. So tell us how it went. Tell us what was exciting about it. Kind of, you know, what was the team feeling like getting out and putting the pads on, really getting after each other?
It was a great day competition. We were able to split up between the red team and the black team. Our president, Mr. LaCari, and our athletic director, Gerald Harrison, got the draft players for their team. So
cool.
I was lucky enough to be drafted by Gerald Harrison's team.
Okay.
And the red team actually came out with the win today.
And that's what you played with?
Yes, sir, the red team.
Cool.
So it was a great day of competition between both teams. Both teams competed very well, and it was just a fun day to be a Gov today.
Yeah, that's cool. I know spring practice, fall camp, those things, you hear college athletes talk about how grueling that season is. And then to kind of have a little reward at the end, hey, let's get out there and let's just have fun. Let's compete. Let's, work. Let's get better, but let's have fun along the way. Yep. Sounds like the design of that seems pretty cool. So during spring practice, that is it about 2 weeks, 3 weeks? How long is that?
We're going on. We just finished our third week up right now. We got 2 more opportunities left is what we call it.
Okay. So. Opportunities. So tell me, those words are not chosen by accident. So as part of your team culture, when you say opportunities, what does that mean?
So instead of calling, we have practice 8-13, we call it opportunity because it's an opportunity for us to get better at our craft, an opportunity to go out there and get better at something this day, whether it be the run game, the pass game, or just being a better team. It's every day is an opportunity for us to get better at something.
Hey, that's awesome. I saw a program one time that had opportunity is now here, and as you went through the double doors, it's like every chance we get to step on this field, it's a blessing, to have the health, the gifting to be able to play at this level. But 2, it's an opportunity, like you said. So is that Coach Walden's idea?
Oh, no doubt. Yes, sir.
So that seems to me, as just a fan, somebody who's just, kind of wants to cheer you on, wants to see Austin Peay be successful. And if you follow the Austin Peay accounts enough, you pick up that there's some intentional language that's used. And so, what I've noticed is even during spring, there seems to be some team competitions where you divide up into different maybe position groups or different types of groups between the athletes, and then you kind of compete against each other.
Yes, sir.
So tell me, how is that organized? How does that come about? What do you win if you actually win something?
So we have what we call Gov teams, and we have each position is voted a captain for their position, and those captains, we had a draft night right when we came back from our Christmas break, and we drafted all players from different positions, players who we thought they were going to give our team the best chance to compete and win. And we competed in mat drills at 6 a.m. We compete off the field. We compete in the classroom. We compete. You get points for going to see other teams play, and whoever has the most points.
Like other teams on campus.
Yes, sir. If you go watch a baseball game, if your team go watch, you get a certain amount of points for going to support those teams. So whoever has the most points at the end of the semester, and it goes all through spring ball, and gets a prize. We haven't been told what it is yet, but it's a pretty good competition. Right
Yeah,
now.
that's awesome. And so the player that's doing the drafting is the captain of each position group.
Yes, sir.
Right. And so that's voted on by the position group,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So I mean, I know you're in the QB room, but let's say for a random position group, the OL group, the DBs or whatever, what is it at the college level that you think your teammates and peers are looking to that said, hey, this is a guy who is a leader among us?
It's definitely somebody who does the stuff right on and off the field.
Yeah.
Somebody who does what they're supposed to do in the classroom, handles their business on the field, and it's just a guy who around the stadium people want to be around. Like all the leaders who have been selected are guys who work their butts off, who do put extra time in, who serve other people first, and always are encouraging their brothers in whatever they're doing.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that. I also like that, part of the incentive towards winning, part of one of the things that you could gain credit for is supporting the other sports. Because when I was at Austin Peay, you notice that the athletic community is really tight.
Mm-hmm.
But when we went to women's soccer games, just as a random student, we would always see football players there. We would always see, basketball players attending the volleyball games. And as an athlete, when you're on the field playing, you look up and you see some familiar faces. What they're going through in their sport, and that them cheering you on is just kind of a little added benefit to make the whole university proud. That's pretty cool. So as I said, this is Coach Walden's first spring practice.
Yep.
So what do you appreciate most about his coaching style, right? Because you played football forever for all kinds of people.
Yes, sir.
And here comes this guy, fireball of energy, right?
Yep.
First
Yes,
of all,
sir.
like
Yes,
what
sir.
is it that you love about Coach Walden?
I love everything he stands for, and it's not just like we're not a normal program. Like we have stuff like we say opportunity instead of practice, and we have these different slogans like chase the lion, and he's always got a reason behind doing something, and it's always what's best for the team. And I love how he comes to practice every single day with the same energy.
Yeah.
There's no days where he's down. He's always up and wants the best and wants us to get better every single day. And he's definitely a very exciting person to be around, and he's a hard worker, and he wants us to be a hardworking team for him.
I love that. Yeah, you see Chase the Lion, another acronym that I see thrown out sometimes is OKG, right?
Yes, sir.
And what's cool about those things is they're not done without intention.
Yep.
They have specific meaning. It's a constant message that the team is hearing, and the message is not for the general public. It's to have some common direction for the team as they're moving forward. But it seems like he's got a lot of intentional energy that he puts into it
Yes, sir.
all the time. Well, so one random question, and of course, if you're QB, you may not be able to answer this question, but tell me one guy who the general public should be excited about seeing on offense this fall.
Oh, we got our whole offense is full with studs, and of course we got some new guys coming in, but of course. One guy who had a big season last year was our freshman Dre McCray. I mean, that kid is just a speed demon. Like he is full of speed, and he's a guy who he doesn't say much, but he always goes out there and does what he's supposed to do on and off the field, and he just works his tail off every single day. And that's one guy that you like to have on your offense that would help that explosiveness of that offense.
I don't know him personally, but I went to the signing day celebration. There was a few players there. He was one of them. And so, when a kid looks for opportunities just to help be a part of the program when they don't have to be there, he's a good player on and off the field, help promoting things. So that's cool that you said him. Well, hey, when you arrived on campus, this is your junior year in school.
Yes, sir.
Of course, with COVID designations, nobody knows if what your actual year is on the field. But when you arrived as a true freshman, that was the 2019 year, really a historic season, right? And so you had some great people to learn from. The quarterback room that year was Oates Fall, Javon Craig. Javon obviously went on to have just an amazing season that year. But thinking back to that season, you as a true freshman, just kind of learning opportunity, right? Is there a game, a moment, what stuck out to you from that whole year of you're like, oh man, this was the moment that's just I'm gonna forever remember?
Definitely is that playoff run. Being able to fly across the country, being able to play different teams in California and Montana, and just being around those guys, and just showed us what a really a brotherhood is, and how far when you have that type of culture in your locker room, how far you can take that. Because people don't really know, like if your culture is good, that's definitely gonna lead to how good you do on the field. So.
Right. people who played football for a long time. Obviously, I'm not a football player. I don't have the the skill, the gifting, the frame to play football. But when you hear people talk about playing football, they talk about how every game's really a small example in life, because every game you've got an opportunity to galvanize people. You've got an opportunity to give up, to slump your shoulders, to have, bad body language, to really kind of get in somebody's face and cheer them on. And it seemed like that team had a lot of really good leaders on both sides of the ball. Oh. People that, for me, as just a random person in the public who likes to watch the team, we loved those kids.
Yep,
we reached that age where we call them kids, but we loved them out in the community doing different things to just make Austin Peay well known and make Austin Peay favorable. But that team was fun to watch. My favorite memory of that season was actually at home against Jacksonville State.
Oh yeah,
because Jacksonville State is just this kind of powerhouse of the OVC.
Yep.
It has been for a long time. They've got a recruiting machine, and you kind of knew when Coach Healy was here, okay, if we can get competitive in the SEC, in the OVC, then we're doing great. But we're probably not going to reach Jacksonville State. That may be too far of a thing. That's what we were thinking. Mm-hmm. And then that 2019 season, that home game, we came out. I say we like I had anything to do with it. But, Austin Peay came out and just destroyed them. It wasn't close. I think the final score was 50-something to whatever number they had. It wasn't as close as whatever number they had. I think it was like 31-7 at halftime, right? Javon Craig, he scored 5 or 6 touchdowns every game that year. Mm-hmm. But I remember that was the moment mid-year where I was like, this team is special. And this is something that I'm going to want to pay attention to and remember as, someone who attended Austin Peay, likes Austin Peay, tries to go to the games when I can. And then, of course, like you said, the playoff run, you destroyed Furman. Sac State, is that Sacramento State?
Yes, sir,
going out there. And, as a fan, you're like, okay, this might be it where it ends. And, go out there and just beat them pretty bad. Just that was a super fun season. But, of course, Austin Peay's not your only football story, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
You grew up here in Clarksville. You played in the Clarksville Junior Pro Football League for however many years as a really young kid. I've seen pictures that your parents have shared in the Packers jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Little Bryce Robinson out there just doing things. Eventually went on to have a great career at Clarksville Academy. So
Yes,
that was, high school football was certainly fun. You had a really storied career there, made a lot of people really proud of all the work that you did. But what's unique about you is, I remember this when you were in, 6th, 7th grade, you had a different attitude towards playing. You always looked at it, as a word you mentioned, a craft, and you had great pride in taking extra effort to do the extra things to, give yourself the opportunities. So tell me a little bit about when did your mindset shift on playing football and this is fun, I enjoy it, to now something I'm going to take very seriously? And who were some of the people that helped you kind of have a path that you could follow?
Well, growing up, football was big in my house, and it was big around the people that were always around me. And my dad really instilled a work ethic in me at a young age that has still been there and been in me till this day. And he's always taught me how you always got to try to outwork your competition, and just putting in that extra work and knowing that work's going to pay off for you one day. Because if you don't want to get to that point to where, if you fail right here, you want to say, I could have put more work in, instead of saying that I gave it everything I had and it just didn't happen to work out.
Sure, yeah.
But my dad was a huge impact in that, storing that work ethic in me. And he's always taking me to camps, always trying to find the best coach for me. If he didn't know what he was talking about, he was definitely going to find somebody who did.
Yeah.
And he was being that coach for me my whole life, and it's been amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, we probably don't have any 12 or 13-year-old listeners out there, but we probably have some people who listen who are parents to that kid that's, super athletic, loves to play shortstop on the baseball team, plays point guard on the basketball team, and is playing football and is playing quarterback. If there's somebody out there listening who's got a kid like that and is growing up here with our resources that we have in town, what would be your encouragement or your advice to them of what it takes to play quarterback at the college level? And what do you feel like was of most value to you in your training and your development?
I would say just give it everything you have. If they really want to go on and play at the next level, then it's definitely going to take some times where you got to give up maybe a Saturday or two to get an extra workout in, or an extra throwing session, or hitting the cages, or whatever it is that you want to do. It's definitely it's definitely a hard working process, and there's going to be times where you don't want to do anything, but that's when that will kicks in. You got to be like, okay, if I want to go do this, then I got to go put in the work, put in the extra time so I can be able to do what I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure it comes, through the whole process, when you play quarterback, obviously everybody's eyes are on you every snap, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are people who believe in you and people who doubt you. And, when you get to, when we talk about local high school football players here that go on to do really great things, get great scholarships or whatever, it's interesting because sometimes we don't look at them and it's not a unanimous opinion like, oh, that dude's awesome,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like there's always some naysayers. There's always some people who think that, oh, he's not as good as they say he is. And I'm sure you encountered that some along your playing days in high school here as well. But for the kid who is, wanting that to be his dream, how do you just kind of push the negative energy out and you just stay positive? What are some of the ways that you've trained yourself to, hey, I'm going to believe the best about myself. I'm going to believe the best about my situation, my training, so that I'm not going to be held back by negativity.
Well, the mental part of it is honestly that I believe is probably the hardest part of it.
Yeah.
Because I still go through some days where I'm really tough on myself and I beat myself up. If I have a bad day on the practice field, like I'm just in my head all day and it's getting to me. But the best thing to do is surround yourself with positive people. And my mom has been that person for me and over the past few years for me. And it's just, we all got to think about it. It's just a game. Yeah. Like that's one thing I try to tell myself. Like it's not a do or die type of thing. It's a game that we love to play and that we've loved ever since we were little kids. And our coach said it today, we're playing a child's game today. Like it's a child's game. Like and we just go out there and have fun and smile. Like if you mess up, you mess up. Like it's only failure if you don't learn from it. Yeah. And so that's one thing that I've really tried to take with me these past few weeks, especially during spring practice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you keep bringing up your family. I know your family is meant so much to you. Obviously, if for people who've been around Clarksville a while, know a lot about your family. Your dad was such a blessing to so many people, and of course had a journey that didn't turn out the way we wanted it to, mm-hmm. right? But his legacy is obviously living beyond his years here. I can't tell you how many times I really had such a profound respect and admiration for him of how much joy he had in being a dad and how much joy he had in being your dad and your sister's dad specifically. He was a great person to be around. What I'd admire most about him is as people were starting to honor him during the late stages as things were progressing there, it was so many different types of people, people from the bike shop, people from O'Neill's, people from a church, people from Clarksville Academy. During that process, was there ever a time you felt like, man, my dad is actually more impactful to more people than I really ever realized?
Without a doubt. I mean, every time we go somewhere, he stop and talk to somebody. Like and he would not stop talking, but he had a really good heart and he always had those relationships and he'd always want to help out somebody when they needed it. And he was the guy that was always smiling and talking their ear off all the time. So he was that dude who always wanted to be there for somebody when they needed him. And he was big on relationships and how big relationships are and how when you keep those relationships and how far that's going to carry you down the road. But when I was younger, I was like, man, can we just go somewhere without him knowing somebody? Like everywhere we went, he knew somebody. So
yeah, he was a legend in his own right. It's just, an incredible man, someone that has impacted so many lives and will continue to do so because his legacy obviously lives on through you, your sisters, your family. As you continue to do things, everything that he's taught you, that's going to just continue his legacy. And I hope how much he would be proud of you. Yes, I mean, it just every day I know that he would. And he told me that. So, as you're going through school, you're trying to take the next step, kind of cement your place on the football team. It doesn't come without challenges. Obviously you've had significant challenges in your life that most young people don't have to endure. But how do you kind of find the determination and the courage to keep pushing through, when, for example, this game that you enjoyed with your dad and he coached you at a really young age and obviously, all the way through high school, it was just your number one biggest fan, having the courage and the determination and just the positive outlook to keep pushing, keep pursuing your dreams, even though things don't maybe go your way all the time.
Well, there's definitely going to be some setbacks in life and it's about how the way you react to them. And it's not, because you can't change it. It's already happened. And it's just a matter of what's in your heart and what kind of dreams you have in your heart. And I feel like that God has placed a dream in my heart that I want to be on the football field. And this past season, I wasn't able to be out there on the field because I had a really, I wouldn't say severe, but a pretty serious back injury.
Sure. And
just not being able to be out there with my brothers and teammates, it really took a toll on me. But being able to just be patient and knowing that your time is coming and just waiting on the perfect timing to be able to get back out there, and was a long process, but it is a process. And Coach Walden says this a lot. He says failure is growth. And so not that my injury was a failure or anything like that, but like any type of setback, any type of failure that you can, it's only failure if you don't learn from it.
Yeah. And
whether it be like a severe injury or like you just go out there and have a bad day that sets you back for a day. Like if you just don't, you can learn from your mistakes and move forward. And I feel like then that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. Wow. It's pretty profound, because it's that the lessons that you have learned and the skills that you've obtained to be able to say failure is not, it's not failure, right? It's a growth opportunity, because there will be a day in your career one day, whenever you grow up and you're an adult one day, where there's going to be some setbacks and things are not going to turn out the way you want them to. And whether it's you, your friend, your family, whomever, and having the ability and the kind of outlook to be able to say, hey, we're going to get through this. This isn't defeat. This is just a learning opportunity. We're going to overcome it. We're going to use the skills and the gifting that God's given us. We're not going to forget the promises that he's given us, and we're going to use this to eventually achieve the goals that we want to have. I am curious though, last season, so you're sidelined with that back injury. What was more difficult, the physical, recovery, or like the mental recovery to get back out and, wait for your opportunity to come around again?
It was definitely both of it, because just being able to sit there and like watch my brothers have success, like I wanted to be a part of that. I want to be able to be out there and be at practice, helping my brothers get better every single day. And the physical part of it was I try to get past the physical part of it. I was trying to go out there and throw a ball every single day at practice, but they were like, you got to stop throwing the balls. And so they would just take me away from all the footballs. But it was both of it was definitely a process. But I would say, again, the mental process of it was probably the hardest. Just telling myself, you got to listen to your body, and like, there's a reason that this happened. You just got to wait on your timing, wait for your opportunity, and because it's going to come one day.
Yeah, so. That's awesome. Well, Clarksville's super proud of you, right? I don't know how many other local players are actually on the team this year.
We have there's a few local players, like a couple kids from Ross, a few kids from Northeast, and definitely there's been some kids in the past who aren't on the team anymore that have been around me, and I've had a chance to make those relationships with those guys that I didn't go to high school with. But there's a couple of local kids that come in there.
But anytime we see a local kid out there, we're cheering you on. Obviously, you've enjoyed lots of cool things about Clarksville growing up here. You've seen it grow to lots of new opportunities. What's one of the things you love most about the town? Or what was it that said, hey, I actually want to stay at Austin Peay partly because of Clarksville?
I love how Clarksville is on the rise right now. I love how it's growing in the right direction. And one reason why I wanted to stay in Clarksville, number one, was my family. I wanted to be close to my family. And number two, I love the people here. Like everybody here there's something about them, all those relationships that I've been able to make growing up through high school and middle school and wherever I came across a path of somebody. I love being around these people, and they're always such supportive, and I love what we have going on at Austin Peay and what the city of Clarksville was on the right track. Yeah.
And you said something to me that I feel like is super profound for a young person to say. But I was just chatting with you, and you're like, I'm glad that Clarksville is a place where people can, grow and experience their lives and use it to create memories. Mm-hmm. I don't know any, what are you, 20 years old? I don't know 21 year olds who are thinking like that, who are thinking like this town is a place where families can experience things to create memories. Obviously, we've had the blessing of it, right? But when you grow up here, especially, middle school, early high school, up to that sophomore, junior year, everybody's like, Clarksville, I'm getting out of here. Yep. But along the way, what I feel like my experience was, especially at Austin Peay, your junior year in high school, your senior year in high school, you're like, actually, this place is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love the people here. They make me feel welcome and they challenge me. They help grow me. When you get to Austin Peay, you're like, wow, now I'm a part of a bigger community, because sometimes in high school, you just get sucked into your one high school or maybe your rival high school that you're playing against at the time, which that seems to be, just different. And then you get to Austin Peay, you're like, wow, like Clarksville's a cool place. Like I'm best friends with this kid from West Creek or, someone down from Cheatham County or whatever that's moved up here. And so it just seems like it's like you said, it is a place where we can create memories together. Well, I'm going to hit you with some lightning round questions.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yes, sir.
You're not ready, but I didn't prepare you, but you're ready.
Let's
Okay.
do it.
All right. On the football team now, who's the best dancer?
Corey Chapman.
Really?
Yeah, Corey Chapman. He's one of the funniest dudes on the team,
Okay.
and he'll just start dancing out of nowhere.
Okay,
Like,
gotcha. Who on the football team is most likely to roast someone that just ends in a eruption of laughter?
roast somebody. Honestly, might have to be Corey Chapman too. To
Okay.
be honest with you. That dude is always looking to hop on somebody's case,
Yeah,
and
okay.
he's a funny dude. Man.
That's awesome. All right, who is the quarterback, college level, NFL level, or retired or whatever, that you say, hey, I admire his game, and it's someone that I've studied a lot, not just watched as a fan, but I've studied how he is successful at doing what he does.
There's been a lot, but one person I've really tried to hone in on is like Russell Wilson.
Okay.
Russell Wilson, him being a little shorter guy in the NFL, and I just love the way that he lives his life. He is a Christ first type of person, that he works his butt off all the time, and he's been defying the odds ever since he stepped foot in the league, and that's one dude that I really admire.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I learned a little bit about Russell Wilson recently. So he had, a performance coach, mental performance coach. And this was funny. I don't know if you've ever heard this about him, but what they would do to try to eliminate negativity in his brain is just pursue positivity. Is they would just do clips of all of his highlights. And they especially wanted to show the clips where he overcame challenges, 2-minute drills that led to his success. They wanted him to watch it over and over and over and over again and fill his mind so that he has the confidence when next season rolls around, there's minute 40 seconds on the clock, they're down 4, and they've got 64 yards to go. I already know I can do this because I did it 2 years ago in this place. I beat the Rams here. I beat this, and so his, like you say, his off the field type mental toughness is so incredible. It's not an accident that he's an overcomer.
Yes, sir.
And he spends a lot of time and invests a lot of his time in making sure that his mental game is as tough as it is. That's a cool answer that you brought up there. All right. So film study, I'm sure you watch a lot of film of your team or whatever. Are you an early morning guy or a late at night guy?
Over the past I've been a very early morning guy.
Okay, gotcha.
But once I'm up, I'm up.
Okay.
But if we're not,
what's early morning to you?
The earliest I'll probably ever get up is like 4:30. And once I get up out of bed and start moving, I'm good. It's just that getting up part. You know? But whenever we're not in training mode, I might be a little bit of a late. I might stay up till like 2 or 3 in the morning or something like that.
Gotcha.
But it all depends on what phase we're in. But I think I can be both.
Okay,
so.
That's awesome. I'm definitely an early morning guy. So as you kind of progress in life, you learn, hey, this is really who I am. How I'm wired. This is when I'm most productive. But 4:30 in the morning is pretty impressive for a 21-year-old. Which I know that for football players, your schedule is just crazy, right?
Yes, sir. No doubt.
Yeah. All right. Big win on a Saturday in the fall. The team's release. You're on your own right now. Where's your place to go to celebrate a meal in town?
It just opened back up, so I'd say Black Horse.
Okay,
Black
gotcha.
Horse. I got a bunch of teammates who are already texting me, like, hey, what do I need to get? Because it just opened back up. But I was really upset when it burnt down, but I've already been there twice now, and like
even since they're open,
since it's been open,
Okay,
and I love the place and the beer cheese dip, and I love it. So
okay, that's cool. That's a great answer. All right, well, last question here. So we're both people who love Clarksville. We're positive about its future. We're excited about lots of new faces here, new opportunities. Obviously, old things like the Black Horse coming back and being thriving again. What is one big message that you'd have to somebody in our community or who's new to our community about Clarksville?
Clarksville is definitely a place for opportunity, and it has been for me for many years, and opportunity to come start a family, make memories, make best friends, start that new job, or whatever you want to do. But it's definitely been a big place for opportunity for me over the past few years.
Yeah. Well, we're certainly excited to see you continue to achieve new things, do things awesome, both on and off the field. I know you're somebody that in a decade from now, you're going to have a prominent place in our community doing really important things. And you'll, just continue to serve, continue to add value to our community in a lot of ways. But, we're also cheering you on right now. We're excited for you both on the field. We'll, of course, this season will come up, first new season in the Atlantic Sun, right? And so that's pretty exciting. But, we're always cheering you on. You're doing amazing things. We're so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the episode. If you would, please give us some feedback. Leave us a comment. Leave Bryce some feedback. 21 years old with that profound wisdom, you know that he's got a bright future ahead. I'm sure he'd love to read some comments and see how proud we are of him. But, hey, check out some of our other episodes. Hit subscribe, like, whatever you can. It helps us grow our positive message about Clarksville so we can tell people about how it really is the best place to live in America. Thanks.